Let me tell you something that nobody in the mainstream media, nobody in the political establishments, nobody in the power centers of global capitals wants you to truly comprehend. Because if you really grasp it, genuinely understand it, the whole narrative of this conflict, this supposed clash of ideologies, this grand righteous battle against existential threats falls apart like a fragile structure in a violent storm. There is one nation seated in a remarkably advantageous position right now, observing this entire regional conflagration, silently satisfied, accumulating wealth by the minute, and it is not the United States, and it is not Israel, and it is definitely not Iran. Before I reveal who it is, I need you to adopt a historian's perspective, not like a reporter who explains yesterday's events, not like a leader who manipulates your emotions. Think like someone who examines centuries, not daily headlines, because history is not random chaos. History is strategic gameplay, and the victors are not those making the most noise. They are those who position the pieces 3 steps ahead before the match even starts. Now, I have been analyzing international relations for more than 20 years. I have experienced life in China. I have observed America from both internal and external viewpoints. I have studied how dominant powers react when they perceive danger, and I have examined how emerging powers respond when they detect advantage. And what is unfolding right now in this region is not about nuclear armament. It is not about extremism. It is not even about national defense. Those are the disguises this conflict wears. What this conflict genuinely concerns is the final frantic effort by a fading superpower to dominate the one element that sustains its economic structure alive: energy control. Consider what occurred on February 28, 2026. America and Israel executed nearly 900 strikes in 12 hours. They eliminated Iran's supreme leader. They killed senior commanders. They destroyed nuclear facilities, weapon sites, defense installations. The magnitude was double the force of Iraq's initial bombardment in 2003. Double. And yet, here we stand more than 30 days later, and the Iranian government has not fallen. The Strait of Hormuz is partially obstructed. Oil prices exceed $90 per barrel. American troops are dying in Kuwait, in Bahrain, in Iraq. Hezbollah launching projectiles into northern Israel again. Lebanon faces invasion again. And America cannot secure a single significant partner to its cause. Ask yourself one straightforward question. Who profits? Not emotionally, not philosophically. Who profits systematically, economically, tactically? When you examine that question with detached rational analysis, the solution indicates one destination, and one destination exclusively. It indicates Beijing. China is not participating in this conflict. China has not launched a single weapon. China has not deployed a single trooper. China has not even expressed particularly strong opposition at international forums. And yet, China is prevailing in this conflict more conclusively than any armed force on the ground. Let me demonstrate exactly how, dimension by dimension, because this is not straightforward. And anyone who claims it is straightforward is either deceiving you or has not examined the evidence. The first dimension is energy resources. China is the planet's biggest oil purchaser. For generations, this was considered China's greatest strategic weakness. If America dominated the Persian Gulf, if America dominated the shipping routes, if America could restrict the Strait of Hormuz, it could theoretically suffocate the Chinese economy. This was a fundamental element of American global strategy. Henry Kissinger grasped it. Zbigniew Brzezinski grasped it. Every competent American planner grasped that controlling Middle Eastern resources was essentially about limiting China. Now observe what is occurring. The Strait of Hormuz is disrupted, but China established permanent energy agreements with Russia following 2020. China has been constructing pipelines through Central Asia for years. China has varied its energy sources precisely because it foresaw this situation. Meanwhile, the disruption damages Europe, damages Japan, damages South Korea, damages every American partner far more than it damages China. The very instrument America created to restrain China has backfired and is now striking America's own partnership network. The second dimension is currency dominance. Here is something your business media will not clarify adequately. The complete American economic structure. The reason America can issue currency, operate deficits, sustain its global presence, depends on what specialists call dollar supremacy. Oil is denominated in dollars. If you want to purchase oil, you require dollars. This generates a constant worldwide requirement for American currency. This is the hidden tribute that the entire world pays to America. For generations, the Gulf nations recycle their petroleum revenues, their petrodollars, back into American government securities, American equities, American properties. This is what maintained the American economic engine functioning. Now, Saudi Arabia has been in discrete discussions to denominate some petroleum transactions in Chinese yuan. The Emirates has been doing likewise. Iran obviously has been conducting commerce outside the dollar framework for years. Every month that this conflict persists, every month that America appears like a destabilizing element in the region rather than a stability provider, the Gulf nations shift incrementally further from the dollar framework and incrementally nearer to Chinese-led alternatives. This conflict, which was intended to exhibit American strength, is actually hastening the deterioration of the economic basis of American strength. The third dimension is innovation and production. While America is expending billions on weaponry, on naval vessels, on armaments, on the massive operational expense of extending armed force 10,000 kilometers from its territory, China is allocating its resources on microchips, on battery vehicles, on machine learning, on sustainable power systems, on the infrastructure initiative that is steadily connecting the economies of Africa, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, and Latin America to Beijing. Every precision weapon that strikes a target in Iran costs approximately 1 to 2 million. China is using that comparable investment to construct infrastructure that will produce benefits for generations. This is the essential strategic separation of our time. America is investing in devastation. China is investing in development. And history demonstrates with harsh consistency which investment yields better over time. The fourth dimension is international influence and credibility. Consider how the world perceives America right now. You have a nation that just days before initiating this conflict was informed by the Omani foreign representative that Iran had consented to a nuclear agreement. Iran had consented to halt enriching uranium. Iran had consented to complete international inspection. A peaceful resolution was achievable, and America struck regardless. The United Nations Secretary General criticized the attacks. Dozens of nations criticized the attacks. The International Atomic Energy Agency stated there was no proof of an active nuclear weapons initiative at the time the conflict started. In the perception of the global South, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, in Latin America, in South Asia, in the Islamic world, America has validated every doubt, every concern, every charge that has been accumulating for generations. Please subscribe to my channel and like and comment to support more content like this. Your engagement truly helps spread this important analysis. China, meanwhile, presented itself as the advocate of moderation, the advocate of conversation, the advocate of cooperation. China is not doing this because it is virtuous. China is doing this because it is strategically intelligent. Every time America attacks a nation in violation of international standards, China's approach of non-interference appears more appealing to the developing world. And the developing world is where the future is being constructed. The fifth dimension, and this is the one that researchers will examine most thoroughly 50 years from now, is Taiwan. Every armed resource, every naval carrier, every advanced fighter, every defense system, every supply network that America is consuming in the Middle East right now is a resource that is not stationed around Taiwan. China has been observing very attentively. China's defense strategists are not watching this conflict to support Iran or to support America. They are watching this conflict to gather intelligence. They are discovering exactly how American defensive systems function under overwhelming missile bombardments. They are discovering exactly how the American armed logistics framework strains under the burden of a continuous multi-front engagement. They are discovering where the vulnerabilities are, where the weaknesses are, where the framework collapses. And if there was ever a consideration in Beijing about the opportunity window for addressing the Taiwan matter on China's conditions, that window is being examined with renewed attention right now. Now, I want to be transparent with you because I am not here to present you a simplistic narrative where China is the protagonist and America is the antagonist. History does not function that way. China has its own significant weaknesses. The Chinese economy is under tremendous pressure. The real estate sector breakdown, the young adult joblessness emergency, the population reduction, these are genuine. Xi Jinping requires external successes to preserve internal authority, and the extended period of American overcommitment in the Middle East serves that requirement almost ideally. But the more profound observation is this. In the context of international relations, you do not need to be powerful everywhere. You only need to be powerful where it counts. At the moment it counts. And right now, China is preserving its power while America depletes its power. That imbalance maintained over a generation is how empires transform. Let me return this to something relatable because I think we abandon our compassion when we discuss only tactics. There are children in Iran right now, children who are 8 months old, who are 5 years old, who are 10 years old, who have been killed in these attacks. There is a girls' educational institution in a southern Iranian municipality where more than 170 people were killed, most of them children. There are over 24,000 wounded in Iran. There are families in Israel residing in protective shelters again. There are American mothers who have lost their sons in Kuwait, in Bahrain. There is Lebanon being destroyed for the third time in 20 years. Real people, real anguish, real mourning, and above it all, in pristine offices in Beijing, in pleasant conference facilities in Shanghai, in financial institutions and commerce departments across China. There are people who are simply calculating numbers, executing agreements, constructing infrastructure, occupying the voids that conflict generates. That is the harsh, unsentimental truth of how superpower rivalry functions. It has always functioned this way. The matter is not whether you are satisfied with it. The matter is whether you comprehend it. So let me finish with the question that I think matters most. Not for China, not for America, not for the administrations and planners and experts who get compensated to contemplate these matters. The question that matters most is for regular people everywhere who are watching this conflict develop and attempting to comprehend it. The question is when this conflict concludes, and it will conclude because all conflicts conclude, what world will we have created? If America emerges declaring triumph, but having expended another 3 trillion, having lost more partners, having quickened the reduction of dollar supremacy, having provided China with the strategic opportunity to strengthen its status across the developing world, was it a triumph? If Iran is attacked back by generations, its infrastructure destroyed, its population traumatized, but its revolutionary philosophy now expanding to every young Muslim who witnessed a girl's educational institution get attacked on broadcast television. Was it a loss for Iran's concept? If Israel accomplishes operational arms superiority but finds itself more separated globally than at any moment in its existence, with its single essential partner diminished and its relationship building with the Arab world reversed by a generation, was that a victory? And China did not launch a weapon. China did not lose a soldier. China executed commercial agreements. China constructed transportation routes. China observed and absorbed and absorbed and waited. That is not courage. That is not ethics. That is simply tactics implemented with patience and focus over generations. And whether we respect it or dread it or oppose it, we had better comprehend it, because comprehending it is the only way any of us in any nation, in any society, watching any display can begin to ask the more difficult question. Not who prevails this conflict, but who gets to establish what prevailing signifies for the next 100 years. Thank you.